Today, I'm going to show you how to take an inexpensive hanging Reaper decoration and turn it into a Dementor. The things we'll need to create our inexpensive Dementor decoration is one of these Reaper hanging Halloween decorations. So I actually picked this one up at the dollar store. I know they sell them at almost every regular retailer that has Halloween decorations. Like I know Target had a version, Five Below had a version. Some grocery stores even had versions. You can find them at the Halloween stores. They may cost you a tiny bit more at some of the Halloween stores and things like that. But after Halloween, you may go in and try to pick some up on clearance and things like that. But usually they're under $10 for sure. But like I said, I got this one for $1. And they're going to be really easy for us to transform into something you can use year after year, or even something to keep up in your permanent collection. We are going to use some Design Master flat black spray paint, and the reason I'm using Design Master is that it's safe for all surfaces. So Design Master is actually created to be a floral spray paint, so it's safe for fresh flowers. And because it's safe for fresh flowers, it's also safe for styrofoam. So if you were to get one that has a styrofoam head or styrofoam arms or anything like that, you wouldn't have to cover the styrofoam up. You can just spray paint it and you're good to go. It's not going to melt it like most of the regular spray paints will. Now, if all of your structure is plastic and you don't have any meltable areas, by all means use whatever black spray paint you want. But I like that this one gives me the versatility to not have to worry about what my piece is made of. I am going to use some black tulle, a utility knife, scissors, and black hot glue. Let's get started. The first thing we're going to do with our little hanging skeleton Reaper guy here is, if you look at the bottom of this, all of the strands are at the same length and they're all just a squared off edge. So I'm going to go through with my scissors and I'm going to stagger some of the heights of this, and I want to make it more of a point. So I'm literally just going to fold the fabric over a little bit, and I'm going to take my scissors and I am just going to roughly cut and rip the ends of this so that we get more of a jaggedy natural look rather than it being a squared off piece of the fabric. And like I said, I'm going to vary the heights too so that it's not all just one consistent height. And now I have all of the ends so that they're not so straight and they're all at varying heights. The next thing we're going to do is take some of our tulle and we are going to cut it and prep it to get it ready to glue onto our little Dementor, so we can add a little bit of this really fine, airy fabric that kind of gives it that wispy, flying look. So to do that, we are going to make little slits and then we're going to actually just rip it, because I want to get this nice jaggedy edge, and then you're going to pull it. So the fun thing about tulle is you can pull and stretch it and it will lose its shape and kind of give you these like worn looks. And we'll automatically do some like twisting just because of how it's being pulled. So it kind of helps add to the movement that we get on the Dementor. So just in that little strand right there, we were able to get a lot of movement and a little bit more expression than just a regular piece of hanging tulle. So I'm going to continue to do this on a couple more pieces, and then I'll show you how we attach it. Now that I have my tulle prepared, we can go ahead and apply it to our Dementor. To add the tulle, all we're going to do is kind of drape it over. They like to cling to each other. Is drape it over some of the arm, and then we're just going to tack it in place with our hot glue gun. And if you don't have strong fingers to the hot glue, I recommend that you use either your scissors or some other fabric to hold it in place until it glues. But at this point, I feel like my fingers are pretty well dead to the heat of a hot glue gun. Just so then that way it drapes down and gives us a little bit more of a gauzy, meshy effect when he's hanging. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tack his hood a lot tighter. So right now it's really loose and kind of comes up over his eyes. And I'm going to back it up a little bit, and I'm going to tack it in tighter because Dementor's hood is fairly tight to their head. So I want to make sure that it's not super gappy like that. So again, I'm going to take my hot glue, and we are going to tack the fabric. And you really don't need a lot of glue for that. You just kind of need enough that it will hold your fabric in place where you want it. And then I'm going to tack down here. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. Now, while we are on the face, I'm going to go ahead and show you how we are going to make the mouth detail. So, as you saw, I cut the mouth off. However, because of how this is, it's kind of weird to just cut a circle in there. And I also want to blend out any of these teeth because even when we spray paint it, you'll still see them. So to do that, I just created an oval that then becomes his mouth. And then from there, we're going to take our hot glue, and then we're going to use the nozzle of our hot glue to blend out and make smooth all of his teeth. And then we're just going to kind of blend it into his jawline. And you can build up just a little bit around the mouth. And then we're going to blend up here as well. Because then when we paint it, it's going to look like one cohesive piece instead of random teeth from a skull on there. So we're going to just continue to hot glue over here. I'm going to build this up just a little bit more, and then I'll show you how we cut the mouth off. Okay, so now that my glue has dried, we're going to take our utility knife, make sure it's good and sharp, and please be careful doing this. And we are literally just going to pop the mouth off. So you're just going to kind of cut all the way around. And as you can see, we are left with this really great opening that looks like a Dementor getting ready to suck a soul out of someone. Now, if you wanted to, you could go back with just a little bit of the hot glue and smooth out any really rough edges. I kind of like some of the rough edges in there. I'm just going to make sure that all the little glue pieces are stuck down, because we're going to spray paint this whole thing black, so you're not going to see any differences between what was glued and what wasn't. And I think I'm just going to go a little bit down here to help define the bottom of his mouth. And at this point, we are ready to spray paint. Okay, so we are in my garage in a well-ventilated area, and I'm going to go ahead and take my spray paint and start to spray him black. Now that he's dried, we're going to go ahead and take him in and finish him up. The next thing we're going to do is take a little bit of Tulle, and I just cut 2 squares, and then I cut a hole in it to go over his mouth. And we're going to lay it over his face, and then I'm just going to tack glue it in and either cut or tuck the rest of the fabric. So then that way it kind of gives him a little bit of a hooded look. I feel like it kind of hides some of the detail of the skull, which I think is more Dementor-like, and I think it just kind of finishes him off. And now we have a great mesh detail over his face. And there you have it, our inexpensive Reaper hanging decoration turned into a Dementor for very little money. This would be a great addition to your Halloween decorations or a party. And if you have a Harry Potter room, this might be something kind of fun to hang in there. So if you guys like this video, give me the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and we will catch you guys later. Thanks so much.